I know he's no scrub. I know he can play. I know he deserves to be a starter in this league. But I'm not sold on him to the point where I feel like, they should have kept him and got rid of Carson Wentz. And in fairness to you, Max, there are people in that locker room who have told me they favor keeping Nick Foles over Carson Wentz. So you're right in terms of there are a lot of people that feel that way, but I'm not one of them.
You keep saying you get it, but you obviously don't get it. Think of what you just said. He was a baller at Arizona. In the Pac-12, only Andrew Luck, who some were saying he's going to be the best quarterback who ever lived, was better than Nick Foles. He was better than Barkley. He was better than Osweiler. And by the way, it was pretty clear he was second to Andrew Luck. I don't know why people had a hard time with that at the time. In the Pac-12, he turns pro, 27 touchdowns. How's he going to do it? Molly said, how's he going to do over the course of a full season? 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I don't know, the all-time record in the regular season over
6 years ago.
Okay.
When you're done, I have a question.
Then he goes back to, okay, Jeff Fisher doesn't count. We all know Jack.
Yeah, don't worry about
it doesn't
those
count,
years.
right? He goes back to the Eagles. He leads them to a Super Bowl win. He wins the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
The whole thing was dare Nick Foles to throw it. He threw it. He beat the Patriots. He was clutch. He made amazing plays. He comes back the next season. The team is dead in the water. He leads them back to the playoffs at the end of the year. He goes to Chicago, beats the Bears on the road. That was a team that wanted to play.
16 points.
Whatever.
Go ahead.
He beat the Bears on the road.
What?
Then he goes to New Orleans. And by the way, if the receiver catches
like
the
a
ball, maybe
Cinderella
he beats
story.
New Orleans on the road.
It's a fairy tale before my eyes.
My point is this. Nick Foles, even if you pay him a lot, Wentz is on his rookie deal. Between them, you're paying one quarterback, and you needed them both to win the Super Bowl and then to almost repeat.
Can I ask you a question before you respond? Because we
I'm gonna get into that,
we talk about this a lot on the show, that the game plan is different for Nick Foles, and that's why he looks better. And Carson Wentz is asked to do more. Is that true?
Yeah, Carson Wentz. Well, partly because he's more talented.
So why doesn't he coach differently for Carson so then he can be more effective?
I say my analogy is like this. Like, we all have friends or people in our lives that we're just more comfortable with. We do things with that person that we wouldn't with other people. We say things to that person.
Okay.
It's that comfort level that Doug Peterson, in many ways, is the greatest representation of himself with Nick Foles. Now, it doesn't mean that he's not great with Carson Wentz. The reality is they're both good quarterbacks. But here's the thing. Because of the storybook run that, and I love Nick Foles. He's a starting quarterback in the NFL. There's no question in my mind. But he does not change your organization over the next decade. That's what quarterbacks need to do. Change the organization.
Does
Carson
winning a
Wentz
Super Bowl change your organization?
That's not what I'm saying. Carson Wentz changes your organization for the next decade. He's that great of a player.
Why are you making it either
People
or?
forget because you can't keep both, because the benefit of keeping Carson Wentz still on his rookie contract is because you can allocate all that money to other people, because you still have a window to go make a run. You still have a window to go make a run.
What would happen if you didn't have Nick Foles on that team the last 2 years? You know what would happen? 0 Super Bowls. You don't make the playoffs this year. You don't win a playoff game.
But the NFL is not a world of what-ifs. You don't live in a what-ifs.
Right, but you had Nick Foles, so you don't have to.
But you have to make a decision, Max, as an organization to go, what is our window to go win a championship, and who gives us the best chance to do that?
The Joe Santoliquito article on Carson Wentz was the best thing that happened to Carson Wentz, because Carson Wentz isn't a bad dude, and I think he can be a Super Bowl winning quarterback eventually.
We heard your point.
However,
he wants to get at you.
2017, Carson Wentz was Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. He was the guy that was running around, making crazy plays on the field, the physical freak, MVP candidate that everyone was salivating over, going, this guy's taking the league by storm. He's still that player. He's still that player. Nick Foles has never been the guy that has taken the league by storm. He's been a good player to very good in moments. Like I said, starting quarterback. Carson Wentz, when you look forward and go, who gives us the best chance to be one of the best organizations in the NFL over the next 10 years, it's Carson Wentz, and to be honest with you, it's not close.
I agree with that. I agree with that. What I disagree with,
both.
That is nonsense. If they didn't have both the last 2 years, no playoff wins at all. They don't make it like what are they going to do? The fact is Carson Wentz has not shown since his rookie year that he can stay healthy through the course of a full season. Now, maybe he can do that going forward, and I hope he does, and I think he can win a Super Bowl. I think he's, other than Mahomes, I don't know who at his age I would take over him. He's really, really talented. But it's worked so far. Why is everyone in such a rush to say it doesn't work?
Let me answer that. Hold on. Let me answer that. If you're making the argument about whether they should keep both or let one go, that's a different discussion. My point with you and what I've been saying to you is, if you had to make a choice, and back in at least a few weeks ago, you were saying Foles, and I was saying Carson Wentz, and I'm saying to you, if I have to pick one or two, I understand.
I never said I'd choose Foles over Wentz.
Wait, you never said that?
No.
Okay, well, here's my point to you. It's fine. If you're telling me that you would keep Wentz, that to me is what the issue is. I'm not saying Max is completely wrong. I think he is because I don't want to keep both because Nick Foles is accomplished enough and is formidable enough where you could create a divide in the locker room because you can't have both. If it's Carson Wentz's team, it's Carson Wentz's team, period. And Nick Foles has gotten to a point where he wants to be a starter again and he believes he deserves it. So that's a different discussion. But what I'm saying to you is if I got to make a choice between the two, this noise about how Nick Foles can give us X, Y, and Z, and he's a better selection than Carson Wentz is nonsense. He is not better than Carson Wentz.
I agree.
He is not better than Carson Wentz.
I gotta say
That's all I'm
I gotta say
saying.
something about Nick Foles. He's not better than Carson Wentz, but it is a team game. There are point guards in the NBA who don't have the one-on-one skills other point guards have, but somehow the team functions better with them.
And the team is the team that went to Chicago and won this year. It wasn't just Nick Foles.
Of course, but I think everyone plays better with this guy, and I think now that the reporting is coming out, we see why. They like this guy a lot. But I want to say this. The question is, will the Eagles regret letting Carson Wentz become a free agent? And that's really the question here. Nick Foles, sorry, Nick Foles. I wouldn't choose Foles over Wentz. I'm saying it's not an either or. Let's do this little thought experiment.
Okay.
Had Nick Foles, had they let him be a free agent somehow 2 years ago, would they have regretted it? Clearly, yes. We know that now because he won a Super Bowl.
Sure.
Would they have regretted it if he wasn't on the team last year? Clearly, yes, because they wouldn't have made the playoffs and won a playoff game and almost beaten New Orleans at New Orleans.
They might have got a higher draft pick.
Well, okay, so the last 2 seasons, the answer was they would have regretted it. They would have regretted it. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's saying, no, but this year they won't regret it. I'm saying